It's great to finally get out on the practice field and coach football and the details of it, and because it seems like it's been yesterday since we first got here, and at the same time, it seems like it's been a while. So it was good to, after going through a great off-season program, to get out there and and watch them execute some today. Your first question, we're very multiple. We're going to do the things that we did at Clemson, but you're always looking to evolve and learn from other people, and so we're going to be very multiple. But at the same time, every year you evolve and you try and get better, because that's part of the deal. We ask our players is to be in a constant strive to improve. As coaches, we got to do the same thing. So, excuse me, from that aspect, yeah, we're going to be very multiple and always looking to improve with different wrinkles. As far as comparing our scheme to the last staff scheme, I'm not going to do that. They won a lot of football games here, and what we're worried about is doing what we do and making us the absolute best on how we do it.
And your linebackers making the calls, is that?
Yeah, in every defense, most of the linebackers make the calls, so it's not really different than it is a lot of places as far as that, because again, they're involved in both the run fits, the blitzes, the coverages, so they're tied into everything. So they have to make the call, and we have to be really good communicators. Number one, I think he did the right thing for himself, his family, and for our football team. I absolutely 100% think he did the right thing. So there was conversation, but to walk in the door and day one you make a phone call to a kid, or you sit down with a kid that you've never met and you try to advise him on what he needs to do with the rest of his life as a complete stranger, that's different. That's different. But certainly based on the information that I had heard, based on what I'd seen when I watched tape, to try and give him my opinion at the start of this. Because it takes time to develop trust. That's not something that you just walk in and with decisions like that, you let a total stranger just walk into your life and tell you what to do. But there were very honest conversations and open conversations with his family as well. I 100% he did the right thing. And then what was your second question?
About Jeffrey Johnson.
Okay, yeah. Well, number one, okay, he's a grad transfer. He's a grad transfer captain. So you're putting a guy that was the captain of his football team in our locker room. And there's the grad transfers, when it's obvious they've got 1 year left, walking in the door, in the first couple of days, it's like, okay, all right, because you're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. And with his leadership and his work ethic, he was accepted by the group immediately. Not only accepted, he's helped lead the group right now. So when you recruit a captain from another team, okay, and you put him in your locker room, that's usually a good thing. Usually a good thing. And in this instance, it's been a very good thing. I'm real proud of him. I'm proud of our guys, how they've accepted him. But again, that's a mutual thing. That's street cred, man. You got to come in and earn that. And he has. Well, I think that number one, it's the University of Oklahoma, okay? And you approach every opportunity with the same amount of effort, enthusiasm, commitment to what you do. But it's really, really important here, and it's obvious it's really, really important here. It's wonderful to be at a place like that really cares about what's happening, and also to be with the group of people that I'm with Coach Venables and the staff. The holistic development of our players, not just the football part development, but the holistic part. And that's been other places too, but I think it's very, very evident that it's about a lot of things here, including the holistic development of the young man. And also, as you do this longer, I'm not saying when or what, but that this doesn't go on forever. And opportunities like this don't come very often. And when they do, you got to take full advantage of them. And so it's been exciting, it's been challenging, and at the same time, I've enjoyed our staff and our group of players, getting to know them so far, and excited about the future. Well, I think that we spent most of the time in the off-season program with the weight room and the fourth quarter program and the things that Coach Schmidt and his staff have did a wonderful job. So that's where, excuse me, that's where the majority of the time was spent, and because that was the emphasis and that was a priority. And at the same time, football was too, but from the time frame commitment standpoint, there was a lot more devoted to that than there was of the installation of the systems. So because without that foundation, you know, you got to have that strong foundation, which was built in our fourth quarter program. I think there's a standard here at the University of Oklahoma, and there's a standard under Coach Venables, and it's up to us to defend the standard and understand the standard. And part of it, before you can defend the standard, is understanding what it is. And so as we've gone through the last couple months, that's been established and made clear, and we're on the same page now with, like, not that we weren't ever on the same page, but on the same page with exactly the expectation level. Oh my gosh, yeah, how important is spring practice? Like, yeah, like really, 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 really important. And, you know, Coach Venables, you know, has been a defensive coordinator for a long time and has been the gold standard and the best in the country. And, you know, but now he's the head coach, and he's got his hand on every aspect of the program. He's not just the defensive coach, he's the head coach that has his hand on every aspect of our program. And so that's how that goes. But at the same time, to have a resource like him to be able to talk with and counsel with and just talk ball and ideas, that's wonderful. It's like if you're having a problem putting, all right, and Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus live next door to you, you're going to go ask them how to putt, right? Yeah, you're not just going to watch them go out and see all those championship trophies, and you're going to use your resources. And certainly, you know, like I said, he's involved in every aspect of our program, and he's a fantastic resource. Yes, it is incredibly early. You're exactly right. But as far as this identifying, yeah, there's some guys that have kind of stood out, and I don't want to get into who they are, but, you know, part of leadership when you have a player-driven team is helping develop that leadership, all right, and then giving them a chance to lead. Because to develop it, not putting somebody in position to allow them to do that, you know. But at the same time, there's got to be, as coaches, we're like the the gutter guards at the bowling alley, right? They bowl that, you want that ball to stay in that lane. And as coaches, we're like those bumpers that come up to help keep the ball going down the lane to strike the pin. So, yeah, it's special, you know. But when we're out there, he's jersey number 18, and I'm Coach Roof. He's always my son, but when he's on the field and I'm coaching him, he's number 18. And I'm going to coach him as hard or harder than I coach anybody else. And at the same time, he enjoys that. He wants to be coached hard. But so do most of our players, and we're going to do that. We're going to be demanding but not demeaning. But as far as the opportunity to coach your son at the University of Oklahoma, that's a blessing, man. That's a real blessing. You know, when you've been around a lot of places, and that kind of sounds funny, been around, but I have been around to a lot of places. I think, number one, it puts it in very clear perspective when you arrive here that this is a special place, and the opportunity and the privilege and the responsibility that comes with being here. So that part of it is like you get really quickly. And so what was the second part of your question?
Just kind of your experience with so many spring installs.
Okay.
You got a younger coaching staff.
Yeah. Well, you know, my job as a leader is to help develop other people. There's a couple things that I get really excited about when I wake up in the morning. Number one, you know, how can I get better? What can I do today to get myself better? Because we're all on a constant journey of improvement. And number two is how can I help other people get better? And that's part of my why as well, because I want to help other people. I want to help other people grow and develop, and at the same time, I want to improve myself as well. I think there's a lot of flexibility that goes, because, you know, as we, excuse me, as we learn and what, you know, because you really learn about your players when you watch them play football. You learn about their characteristics, their internal motivation, their toughness, their grit. You can do all that in the fourth quarter program, but you learn about how your players play when you watch them play. And you watch them compete, and you watch them grind. And so that's always a process that's going to be an evolutionary process as we continue to go. And because in this game, when you got injuries, you got this, you're trying to develop competitive depth. So when that does happen, you know, you don't fall off the edge of the cliff when you go from playing this player to this player. So cross training is certainly a part of what we do.
And I assume if you have a player that's played more, it makes it easier to just flip them around.
Yes, yes, it does. It does.
Like a Key Lawrence or somebody like that.
Well,
Corner and say,
yeah, guys that have played and understand conceptual teaching. Once they understand concepts, then everybody can. But you know, a lot of times when like some of those freshmen that was their first college practice today, it was going really, really fast for them. And to put them in, you know, multiple positions, I wouldn't do that to them right now.
For more information, you can visit TulsaWorld.com.